Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions. So to begin with, a fraction again is a part over a whole. And usually, when we think about fractions, usually we talk about how the whole is bigger than the part. So for example, if I have a whole candy bar and I split it up into 4 pieces and eat one of those 4 pieces, I just ate 1 out of 4 pieces, or 1/4. Right? Now here's a problem. I mean, here's an example of me just eating 1/4. However, what happens if I eat more than the whole thing? Right. So, for example, if I ate 1 1/4 candy bars, so I bought 2 candy bars and I ate more than one. I ate 1 1/4. Well, there's 2 different ways of talking about that. There's 2 different ways of describing the number of candy bars I just ate. I could say that I just ate 1 1/4 candy bars. Right? And it looks like this. You put into a mixed number. We call it mixed because there are 2 different kinds of numbers here. There is a whole number, 1, and there is a fraction, 1/4. Right, so that's mixed. This is called a mixed number. Okay, so a mixed number consists of a whole number and a fraction. All right. But there's another way of describing this amount of candy bar that I just ate. And that is, let's say that before I ate that first candy bar, I cut it into 4 pieces. The same size as the one I ate just 1/4 of. Okay? So now how many fourths have I eaten altogether? We can just count them. I ate 1, 2, 3, 4. I ate 4 of the 4 fourths from the first candy bar, and I ate another candy bar, so that's 5 fourths. Right? 5 fourths. That describes the same amount of chocolate. This here is 1 1/4, but this is also 5 fourths. It's the same number, they are equivalent. But when we write it like this, without a whole number, just using a fraction, this is called an improper fraction. Improper fraction. And the reason why it's called, I don't know why it's called improper, but the way I remember that it is called improper is because I like to think of my son and I going on a walk. All right. So my son is pretty young. He's just turning 5 this Friday he'll be turning 5. And if I put him up on my shoulders for a piggyback ride, that would be completely proper. That'd be fine. All right. He's up on my shoulders. But if he puts me up on his shoulders for a piggyback ride, right, that would be improper. He would probably collapse. So what that means here is if your numerator is smaller than your denominator, that is a proper fraction. But if your denominator is smaller than your numerator, that is an improper fraction. Right? So that's a way of remembering these terms. So again, though, a mixed number and an improper, now all mixed numbers can be expressed as an improper fraction, and all improper fractions can be expressed as a mixed number. All right, let's take a look now at how to change one into the other. So I'm going to start off with, let's start off with a mixed, now let's start off with a improper fraction, okay? So here's an improper fraction, 8/3. Okay. So here's how we do it visually. How we can turn this into an improper into a mixed number. Right. This is an improper fraction. I'm going to go ahead and draw some thirds. So here's a candy bar. I'm going to draw some thirds. I'm going to start shading them in until I reach 8 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3. Oh, I haven't reached 8 yet. So let's draw some more thirds. 4, 5, 6, still haven't gotten to 8 yet. 7, 8, oh, there it is, 8. Okay, so let's count the number of whole things I just shaded in. I shaded in 1 whole thing, 2 whole things, and I have 2/3 left. So 8/3 as a mixed number is 2 2/3. All right, very good. Mr. Baker, I got that now. I could do this. I could draw this picture. But what happens if we get something really ugly, like maybe 27 halves? And I don't want to have to draw all these different halves. How could I do this more easily without having to draw it? Well, basically, this is just dividing, okay? And in 6th grade, we were learning that this fraction bar, which actually has a name, by the way, it's called the vinculum. The vinculum actually means dividing, right? So this is really saying 27 divided by 2. And so if I do that out, if I work that out, 27 divided by 2, I should go, let's see, 2 goes into 2 ones with no remainder, right? And 2 goes into 7 3 times with a remainder of 1. Let's keep that remainder for a second. Okay? This is the same as 13 remainder 1, right? But the remainder 1 is 1 what? It's not 1/8, it's 1/2 because that's what we were dividing by, right? So it is 13 and a half. That's how you can turn a improper fraction into a mixed number, is by doing division. Okay, so let's try one more like that. Here is a improper fraction. Let's see, 74 thirds. It's good practice for long division as well. So to turn this into a mixed number, all I have to do is long divide. I have to divide it. So 74 divided by 3. Okay, let's see. 3 divides into 7 twice. That makes it 6, and it leaves the remainder of 1. I bring down my 4. 3 divides into 14 4 times. That gives you 12 with a remainder of 2. Okay, so my answer is going to be 24 and, I'm not leaving remainders anymore. 24 and 2 to what? 2 thirds, right? So 74 thirds is the same as 24 and 2 thirds. Okay? So that is how we change from an improper fraction into a mixed number. Now, let's talk now in red marker about how to turn from a mixed number into an improper fraction. So here is a mixed number, 2 and 1/8. 2 and 1/8. So one way is by doing this visually. I'm going to draw 2 holes and 1/8. All right, so here are 2 holes, and we have 1/8. So my 1/8 is about that size, right? Okay, so to convert this into, and pretend that these are shaded, I'm not going to do it for a reason, just a second here. Pretend that what we need this all to become into the same denominator, right? To be the same fraction, I need it all over 8. So I'm going to make everything eighths. So these 2 holes, I'm actually going to turn them into eighths. We'll divide them into 8 pieces. Okay, now everything is eighths, right? And this is all shaded in. So now we can just count how many eighths there are here. Well, if I count, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So as an improper fraction, that would be 17 eighths, would be the same as 2 and 1/8. Again, Mr. Baker, that makes sense. That's pretty good. I could do that, but what if it was something really big and I didn't have time to draw all these pictures? Well, what we're really doing here is we're multiplying, right? You might have done that when we were counting up in just this picture just a minute ago. You might have not have counted up 8 twice. You might have just done 2 times 8, right? So what you really did was you multiplied 8 times 2. You multiply your denominator times your whole number, and then you added that extra 1 from the fraction that wasn't filled in yet, right? So that is how you change. In general, that's going to be how you're always going to change an improper fraction. Make an improper fraction from a mixed numbers. Multiply the denominator times the whole number and add the numerator. So let me give you an example again. All right. We'll do the trick first and then show a picture. So I'm going to do 5 halves. Make this into a, I'm sorry, we just did that, huh? We're doing mixed numbers to improper. So I'm going to do 1 3/4. Okay, so we'll do the trick first this time. So my trick is to multiply your 4 times the 1, and then that's a multiplication, and then add the 3. So I get 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7, and you keep your denominator the same, 4. Okay? And now pictorially, this is what it looks like. So I have 1 whole, and I have 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Now again, this 1 whole could be divided into 4 pieces. Look what I just did. I took 1 whole, and now I multiplied that by 4. Now I have 4 pieces instead of just 1. Right? I multiplied the 1 whole into 4 pieces. I got 4 pieces. And then I add the 3 over here on the bottom, plus 3. Right? So that's always going to be working. That's always how you're going to do it. It's going to work every single time. So if I have a really ugly one that I don't want to draw a picture for, say 7 and 5/12. Right? I don't want to draw a picture of that. It's going to be taken all day long. So what I can do is I can do my shortcut, multiply 7 times 12. And then add 5. 89, and put that over my denominator as it was. And I get my answer is 89/12. Right? That would be written as an improper fraction.